The way that I planned the lectures that I'm going to have is that, from what I understood, this first lecture was targeting also some other invited people. So this first speech will be a little bit about what we think is serious games, and very brief examples and descriptions of the projects that we do. So I'm just trying to convey the general idea that we are working along, and just to put that short as a beginning is that we think that computer games can be used for a variety of purposes apart from entertainment. Now these purposes, they may vary, and the examples I will show you will be of a whole variety of different purposes that we have tried to use computer games for. Because if we adhere to the definition that games should be voluntarily, they should be non-productive, all those things, then how can we talk about serious games? How can we talk about applying games to other areas where we actually want them to be productive in some way? So, for example, in teaching, many teachers, you included, I guess, we see that many people tend to be consumed by games. We can see that it motivates them. They can sit for hours concentrating on something, and we really would like to convey that into teaching, because wouldn't it be great if you could invent a way of teaching that would keep your students as motivated and engaged as they would be by a computer game, but you are, as a teacher, in control of what they are doing. That's of course the vision. Okay, so I might just as well reveal one of the things that we learned over the years, that that's a good vision, but it's really, 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 really hard to do. Anyway, when we look at the field of what is described as serious games, we have come up with this overview. Starting with this guy here, the Battlefield 2 game, produced by a Swedish game studio, now owned by EA Games. Saab Naval Systems is one of the major companies in Swedish defense industry. They build, as the name indicates, all sorts of naval systems. So geared to submarines, small coast vessels, different types of ships. In particular, they have a small coast vessel which they are trying to sell throughout the world. And they felt that, okay, if we can find a way to show the capacity of this coast vessel to our customers in a very elegant and visually appealing way, that would be great. So they went to EA Games and they bought a 3-year license to use their game engine and convert it into a visualizer of the strategic capacities of the Coast Vessel 90, which was this ship. So they worked, and they built actually a very impressive adaptation of this game, which they use at their customer center outside Stockholm. Our students think that all games are serious. We think that all games are serious. Obviously, as I told you, I mean, it's an integral and important part of our culture to play. It's a huge business, and to us, it's also a huge area of study and research. So, all games are serious in that sense, most definitely. Okay, so given that we want to use the power of games to get good results on other areas than pure entertainment and engagement, we can take a look at what has been done. Typically, the most predominant sector when you talk about serious games is the military. They have been leading development, I think most people would say, throughout the years. Even earlier on, when there were no computer games around, the military did all sorts of game-based training. So if you think about it, a huge maneuver where you train soldiers is really essentially to its form a huge live role-playing game. So the military, they have a long tradition, thousands of years. When you talk about computerized serious games, most people tend to hold forward a game called America's Army. I don't know whether you heard about it. It's a fully fledged first-person military shooter game, which is a pretty popular genre. You have maybe that type of games maybe at least 10 to 15% of the gaming market, I think. So it's a pretty popular sort of game. What the American Army did was that they sponsored the development of a war game that was very authentic, very true to material, very true to procedures, very true to the type of tasks that you would do. And they hand it out for free to American youth. And they use it as a means to recruit new soldiers. If you try it out, it's free and downloadable from the American Army website. You will find that it really has a very high quality. It has the same quality as any commercial shooter game in its genre. Many of the clients that we work with, they, in some sense, neglect the engagement and entertainment part. They are more interested, of course, in the effect. You know, that they want it to work, they want it to be efficient, they want it to be cheap, they want it to be all sorts of things, of course. But we constantly find ourselves in a position where we try to defend the fun, because we think that's an important aspect of games. And I guess we think that because we rest on the work of Kalois and Heutzinger, for example, who really emphasize the importance of being engaged. This is a film clip showing what it looks like. So this is your first-person shooter view. This is what you would see if you play it on one screen. So this is your plasma gun. But we replaced, of course, the plasma gun. The plasma gun is not inside the cave. This guy over here, he is moving inside the cave. You can see that he is running on the spot. And that's to move in the game. So we use pressure sensors, and you control the game by pointing the fog fighter nozzle in the direction that you want to go. So that operates as a joystick to the game. And this is for evaluation. So you will see here the green areas are the areas that you covered in your search. And when you're done with one level, you will meet your virtual coach,